Shazam?
Peacemaker. What a joke. I'm nobody. I came because I had no choice. I came to save my home and the people that I love.
Truth, justice,
the American way.
I'm vengeance.
Hello and welcome to Elseworlds, a DC fan podcast. My name is Jordan, and with me, as always now, is Chris. How are you today, Chris?
I'm doing fantastic. Pretty chill day, and it's fun to talk some superhero stuff today. We got a lot to talk about. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just explain this for people that are going to be listening. This episode that you're listening to now is just Arrowverse updates, where my current progress is. So you're going to have spoilers up through the end of season 3 of The Flash. And then in the next episode in the podcast feed, you will have our Blue Beetle breakdown for the trailer and Superman and Lois season 3, episodes 1 through 4 discussion. So that's how we're going to break those out for us today. Yeah, so I guess where I'm currently at here, like I said, is all the way through season 3 of The Flash. I'm actually also on right now the finale of Supergirl season 2. I had to pause that to make dinner. So I'm currently in the middle of that. That's like maybe like halfway through that. And other than that, I'm like caught up in the sense of like through Legends, right? Season 2. I finished Arrow season 5, which was a much better season than season 3 and 4, I think. I don't know.
Arrow season 5 had the best cliffhanger
Yes.
of pretty much any Arrowverse season.
Yes, that was a good cliffhanger, and it was also just like a wonderful like I liked Adrian Chase as a villain more than Damian Dark or any of that, because I feel like I think Legends did Damian Dark better, though he was still annoying. Like the actor is great, but I'm just like he didn't use his magic as much in Legends. I guess he didn't have it at that point, but I that was like the worst part about Arrow season 4 is whenever he was using his like magic is like, all right, he just seems way OP. Like there's, and you kind of I felt like stretched that out for 23 episodes that it didn't need to.
Yeah, if Arrow was 13 episode seasons, I think it would have been a lot cleaner, a lot crisper. But I also think Neil McDonough, the actor who plays Damian Dark, fits Legends. He does not fit Arrow. Much in the way that
Yeah.
Sarah Lance is better on Legends than she was on Arrow. I think certain actors just don't fit certain shows. I think Adrian Chase was the best bad guy Arrow had, not named Malcolm Merlyn, and you could argue that he was better than Merlyn. So that was a lot of fun. I thought Adrian Chase was. I liked the vigilante and Prometheus switch up, and I thought it was very interesting. His psychological breakdown of Oliver, that was fantastic. So I was a big Prometheus Adrian Chase guy. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I guess it got me that he was Prometheus and not Vigilante, right? I mean that because I'm so used to Adrian Chase being Vigilante. So that was interesting. So Arrow season 5, that was fun. And what I did was there was a day where that was like I had just that and Supergirl left for their latest seasons, like at the point that I'm at. And I had just finished Flash and I had just finished. No, I hadn't finished Flash yet, or maybe I don't know. But I was like on episode 13 of Arrow, while I was on like episode 20 something of Flash and like done Legends and all that. So I was like, I need to catch up on Arrow now. I spent like a whole day watching like 9 episodes of Arrow leading up to the finale. And then I watched the finale. I think it was yesterday. Tuesday I watched the finale of season 5 of Arrow, and that episode was really, really good. I didn't think it was going to be good. I hate when they always go back to Leanne Yu, actually. But it was good. It was good having like all the bad guys, having Deathstroke back, and Captain Boomerang was there for some reason. I had to look up and make sure it was Captain Boomerang again because I didn't recognize him. So that was a fun episode.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that.
I don't know the result of the cliffhanger, but I think Flash season 4 has kind of spoiled it for me. So
I'm not gonna give it away, but they don't make as good on it as you would think they would.
Yeah, I assume, and I don't want you to tell me if I'm right.
No,
but I assume like a good chunk of them survive, obviously. Cisco in some part of season 4 says in the premiere says like Felicity and Curtis was helping him with something. So I assume that those two at least survive. Yeah, so that was that. Legend season 2. We kind of talked about it last time a bit with my love of Rip, right? And how I felt like he kind of got pushed to the side again. Like pushed to the side in season 2 a bit. But I did like the Legion of Doom. I had fun with seeing Reverse Flash in there. Kind of getting the introduction to Black Flash in Legends was pretty interesting because he may have showed up first in Flash, but there was a time where I actually just kept binging Legends until I was done with that season, and then I went back to Flash. So I'm not sure which one Black Flash like appeared in first to like be hunting Reverse Flash, but I thought it was cool that they introduced something like that in Legends, and I guess Malcolm Merlin teaming up with them was something I was like, really? We're getting Malcolm Merlin in this show too? So that was interesting. I feel like he's everywhere right now because he was also in the Flash musical episode, right? And then he was also in the...
Yeah, and he's got some pipes too. That guy can sing.
Yeah.
I actually just watched Flash, the end of season 3 from the musical episode to the finale. And to catch up on it, I had watched it a long time ago, and it was actually one of my favorite Flash's seasons. And I stand by Savitar is the second best villain on the show outside of Reverse Flash. I think Savitar was fantastic, and I thought the drama was very gripping. I think the show really peaked in season 3, and I know a lot of people say it peaked season 1. I think the drama and the chemistry of the team really was great in season 3. I enjoyed it. And it was nice because I remembered how much I loved the show back then. And right now I'm a little frustrated with the show. I mean, I love it. I'm committed to it. But then it was like, oh man, they're hitting on all cylinders. I missed it. I enjoyed it.
Well, we know why, right? Helbing left. I feel like it has to be correlated with when Todd Helbing left because he's the showrunner of Superman and Lois, and that show is great. I don't know when he left Flash, but the first 3 seasons have been great. And he wrote a lot with his brother, a lot of really great episodes for the Flash. So, yeah, really, really, I think he's got to be part of the reason why that show was so good for a bit. I'm excited to get to the end, though. Like, I feel like once I'm done Crisis on Infinite Earths, I might just binge all of Flash to catch up before the finale, or as close to the finale as I can. and then I'll go back and finish like Supergirl and stuff like that. I think that's the way
I
I'm going.
got you. Supergirl season 3 is my favorite season of Supergirl. Um, I liked the villain for season 3 of Supergirl. I thought that was interesting. And season 3 of Legends is my favorite season of Legends. I think that's when they really hit their stride and was like, okay, we're just going to steer into the what we are. Um, Arrow, interesting. I still think it's season 2, but Arrow season 5 was a really big return to form for the show, and it was needed. I don't think it would have made it the way it made it if season 5 didn't swing things back in the right direction.
Well, I liked having Curtis as Mr. Terrific, and I liked having Ragman in there too. I thought that was really interesting that they brought them um, into Arrow.
Yeah, but they didn't really do much with them. I mean, they were important for the first half of the season, if I remember correctly. Then they kind of just
Ragman
like they're
leaves
gone.
after. Ragman left after he like took a nuclear blast and his rags were no longer working. Curtis is actually like really big in it as Mr. Terrific in that season, but like Wild Dog isn't really that big of a character. And then we had like the random like what was her name that like turned out to be working with Adrian.
Oh, I don't even remember that. It was not a very memorable character.
Yeah. So, but
although I will say Curtis is one of my favorites. Curtis is one of my favorite characters in the whole of Arrow.
Yeah, he's been
fantastic.
A great addition.
Or terrific, I should say.
Yeah. I will say though that I think season 2 of Supergirl is a much improved show than season 1. I liked having the introduction of Tyler Hoechlin as Superman in the first like 2 episodes. That got me really excited. And I think just some of these episodes as a whole were better. I liked the like Mr. Mxyzptlk, episode was fun.
And he's a recurring character on Supergirl. Okay. He shows up multiple seasons when you least expect it to. So keep an eye out for him.
There was an episode where Alex was kidnapped. I thought that one was really good.
That was one of the best episodes of the entire series.
Yeah, that was really good. I even liked the one with like the little boy who was Marcus, who was like an alien that like had a bond with James, after his mom kind of was framed as doing something bad. But and I liked having how they brought in Terry Hatcher and Kevin Sorbo, and they were cool too.
The Daxamites were interesting. I didn't love the big bad of the season, to be honest with you, but Terry Hatcher pulls everything off, so that worked. Though I don't know if it works with a actress that doesn't have that much pull and power with their performance. But yeah, it was cool. The mon-el thing got annoying really quickly.
Really? I really like mon-el. Yeah, I really like him.
I don't dislike mon-el. It was just a little bit of a contrived storyline between him and lying to Kara and then her being mad at him. And I felt like it was
that stuff happens. Yeah,
it was a little CW-y. It was a little. It was like, okay, I know it's a CW show, but you don't have to be so CW.
Yeah, it happens. I think the most in Arrow, where he is, where like Laurel or somebody would be like secrets and lies, and I'm like, oh my god, get over it. Same thing with Smallville when that happened. Lana was always going on about secrets and lies. And then, yes, it happened a bit with mon-el and, and Kara. But she got over it eventually, and it was good. And then, the one thing I didn't like, too, is that Wynn had a alien girlfriend, that was really great for him. And then they did a whole episode where she was like evil. And I was like, are you kidding me? And then she's back to like loving him and they were back on track. I'm like, oh my god, like, just why did you have to ruin that for Win? Like,
Well, they ran out of ideas for a week. I'm
yeah, I
convinced
guess so.
sometimes they do things that don't make sense, and they're like, "Well, they tried that out, didn't work. They're going back to this." I think they do that on these shows sometimes. I don't think they do a great job on some of these shows of getting to point A to point B with organized chaos. I think a lot of times it's just chaos, and they pull whatever they can whenever they can. Win is not allowed to be happy either. So there's characters
Mhm.
in the Arrowverse who are not allowed to be happy. Win's one of them. Caitlin Snow is one of them, and Laurel Lance is the other one. So those are the big not allowed to be happy people. Every show has someone who's not allowed to be happy, and it's really really annoying because oftentimes you love those characters.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah, I guess that's one of the downsides of the CW shows, right? Is and like, I like the positives of having all of these episodes because right now it's like giving me something to watch every time, right? But the downside is when they stretch stuff out, and some some of those, like I was talking about with Damien Dark, was stretched out a lot. I felt like um I think season 3 of The Flash does a good job of not stretching it out, and I kind of talked about it last time, but where they kind of split the season of Alchemy to then Savitar, I think gave it a boost. Instead of introducing, like in season 2, they introduced Zoom right away, and then that lasts the whole time. You have like a mini boss and then the big boss. And I think that way is one way that you can do it. Another show that did a good job at that was like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They would have like the first half of the season be an arc, and then the second half of the season was a whole different arc. And it allowed it to kind of be fresh and make those 22 episode seasons feel kind of like 2 mini seasons where it's like paced very well.
Yeah, I think the Flash did a really good job in season one and season three. I agree, season two, they kind of stretched Zoom out a little farther than they should have. But one of the cool things about Savitar was there was different stages of the Savitar story. So there was, who the heck is this guy?
Yeah.
Then there is, why the heck is this guy? And then there is, so they kind of won, but what is his goal now? And that was, to me, Savitar was complex enough that they could do it. The problem with Zoom was he was really just an evil dude. There wasn't much there other than the fact that he's just an evil dude and a
He
power
just wants to
hungry
steal
evil dude.
speed too. Yeah.
Yep.
That's all it was.
So yeah, it's a little stale. I thought Zoom was one of the coolest villains, but if they gave him just like a 6 to 8 episode run, that would have done way more than the 23 episode season. I also think if they didn't make Zoom and Caitlin kind of a thing, um, it would have allowed Caitlin to maybe be less miserable. And the show can't do that though. The show has to make
Well,
Caitlin miserable.
I would think season 2 with Zoom, it really felt like, and I like season 2 a lot as well. But when I'm looking at it, I think they revealed who he was too early. Um, because that was like episode 15, I think, of season 2, and then you still have like 9 of still knowing who it is, but you didn't know, like, but and then the characters even knew who it was, but then they just kind of had to sit around and do other stuff before taking him on. In this one, right, you have the mystery of alchemy, then you have Savitar, and then it's like you said, yeah, who is this guy? And when they find that out, that's like right near the end of the season, and then you get all this more backstory of why it's this guy. You know, how did that happen? Why did it happen? And then you kind of get to the big climax of the thing where we get to see. I also really like I said, about trying to fix the headlines and trying to make sure Iris didn't die. And then they actually got me on this where she died. Now, obviously, I knew she's coming back because I know she's still in the show, So like that spoiled for me, right? But it's the I was like, okay, how are they gonna bring her back, or like, did she wear like something that prevented her from getting a step? Like, it was all these questions I had of how did this do it. The good twist is that it's HR wearing his face disguise thing, um, as Iris, which was really cool. And of course, Savitar is future Barry, and I really love that twist. I did figure it out beforehand, probably like an episode beforehand, when I was starting to think of, the episode before. I think it's the episode before they reveal it. Caitlin is Killer Frost, and he sees who gets out of there,
And
and
he
she
looks like
trusts him.
Barry, like from the back. I noticed this. I didn't notice this the first time I watched it. This time I was like, that's the same exact body shape of Barry.
Oh, was it? I
Yeah,
thought
from
they
the
only showed
back.
the feet. Yeah,
No,
but I
because
guess.
they showed like him hunched over in the
Oh,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, well, he's got the same like hair, like from the back at least. Like you can tell the same length of hair. Like he's the same dimensions. I was like, I don't think you would have noticed it without being revealed. But looking back, it was like, oh, they're like, did you catch it? Did you catch it? I think that was on purpose. But I can't confirm that without talking to the showrunner or something. But yeah, I loved when Barry figured it out, though. I loved when Barry figured it out, and they kind of had the fight, and then he thinks he's got Savitar beaten, and he goes, "I forgot to tell you, my suit's better than yours."
Yeah, yeah.
And that was cool. That was a cool scene, and I thought it was very well done. I Savitar's suit is like one of the top 5 coolest things in the entire Arrowverse. It's so freaking cool. I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, my first thought when Caitlin sees who it is, I was like, could it be Ronnie? That would be the only person I think she would believe that full heartedly. Like, yes, as soon as she sees him. But I was like, it can't be Ronnie. And then I started thinking, I was like, it's got to be Barry. And the hints were there all season too. Like, they've been hinting to it. There's so many times where they tell Barry he's not a god, that Barry is not a god. Well, this whole Barry's goal as Savitar is to become a god. So it's like you're getting hints that way. You're getting hints of him saying, I am the future Flash, meaning I am the Flash from the future, but we're reading it originally as like, I am the future, comma, Flash. So really, like, the hints are there the whole time, how he knows every single thing, right? That they're doing, like he was there. And you're thinking, well, who else would be there that has super speed? It's Barry, right? And yeah, it just lines up. Like, they had this whole season arced out really well, because even like the HR like face thing comes in play super early in the season, and they bring it back a couple times, and it sets it up for that final. It's not out of left field.
Yeah, it has a rhyme and a reason. I agree with you
Yes.
100%. And what I really liked was one of my favorite Iris moments when they screw up Barry's memory with the science experiment, trying to make sure Savitar can't see what they're doing. And they screw up his memory, and Iris kind of wants him to stay that way because Barry is let go of all his trauma. The trauma never happened to him, basically. So he's just this purest form of who he was before all the trauma. And she says, look, he's happy. This is what I've always wanted for him. And Joe tells her, look, all those memories made him who he is, the good and the bad. And she realizes that she can't have Barry without the memories. But it's one of the coolest Iris moments because it was pure love. Like, that was pure love. A lot of times we see in the show why Barry loves Iris. But that was Iris loving Barry and doing for Barry and thinking of Barry. And I think that's what the show needs more sometimes. I think so much it's just Barry just oozing love for Iris, just radiating love for Iris. And that was Iris pure of heart. And that was needed in the show.
There's also a really good part, really good joke when he has his memory loss and he asks Wally who he is, and he says your brother, and he looks down. Barry looks at his hand to be like,
That was pretty funny.
what?
That was actually really funny, and it kind of highlights the weirdness of their family situation that the show skirts around because it is a weird situation.
I thought he was gonna be like, yeah, like if you're my brother and you're her brother, then she's my sister. Like I thought at first, like he was gonna be like, how are we?
It
Like,
would be really funny if they went down that route. It would be like admitting how weird it is. Like it kind of works and it kind of doesn't. It's one of those things if you think about too much, it's kind of iffy. But I totally get it. I totally understand it. I've made my peace with it. It's fine, but it is weird.
the way that it works for me is that he was already old enough to have known her, and they were already friends, and he already loved her. Right
Right.
now, if they had
It's not
grown up
like
in
they
the
were
same house from when he was 3, it's more creepy, right? Like,
agreed because then he's legitimately your sister.
yes, exactly.
He was her friend before
Mhm.
he raised as her sister. So that's why it works. That detail is very important though. Very.
Yes, very important.
Actually, Joe has the weirdest balancing act in the whole series because he's got to look at Barry and Iris as son and daughter and
And then also his
a
son-in-law.
son-in-law. And that's a weird thing that could only happen the way it happened. So anyway, it was a funny joke. We went on too long of a tangent about it probably, but that's what we do.
Yeah. Overall, really, really liked season 3 of The Flash. Look, even if it all falls apart here, I've really enjoyed this show, and we'll probably rewatch
I have good news for you.
these.
I don't think you're going to throw anything at your TV till season 6, but it's up and down from here. It's up and down from here. They knew who they were, they knew what they wanted to do, and they did it. And seasons 1 through 3 of The Flash, I'd even argue seasons 1 through 4 are peak superhero television. After that, I'm not going to call it a peak superhero television series. It's up and down, and when it's at its peak, it's it's really good.
Yeah, I can handle bad as well. I mean, if we need to, but
I'm very interested to see when you get frustrated with the show, or if
me
you do
too.
at all, because
Yeah,
you
I
might
may
not.
not.
I mean, it's all subjective. It could be something, but this season 9 of The Flash. I'm not going to give anything away. I will just say it's supposed to be the final season,
Yeah.
and you're supposed to have a final season feel. It surely does not. It does not feel like a final season, and I'm losing it actually. Quite
Mm.
quite frankly, I'm losing it because it feels like just another season of The Flash.
I wonder if they were told late. Were they told late when they were
So
already
I don't
writing?
I don't know. Eric Wallace, the showrunner, said he wanted to do like 3 more years of storytelling, and he had 3 big arcs that he wanted to do. And my problem with this is he couldn't have not realized that it was almost done. Like I think he shot for too much. But my problem is for a guy who wanted to do too much, and I don't want to give it away for you. A guy who wanted to do so much, he's doing very little in the last season. It feels like a lot of filler in a 13 episode final run, and that's annoying. Annoying to say the least. I very much needed the reminiscent, the reminder of why I love the show because it was very helpful, very helpful.
Yeah, I was just trying to look up to see when they were notified, but I couldn't really find it. Like when it was announced, and then they usually probably would have known a little bit before that because you're right. They may have already known, and he may just be like, "These are what I want to do with these episodes," and
And Grant Gustin's contract was a little drawn out, and Grant wanted out, and
oh, did he?
Iris wanted. So the actress Candice Patton wanted out. Cisco had already left. Caitlin was like, I don't know how much longer I could do this. Joe got a pilot episode on for another series. So all the actors were kind of done with it. I think that was a real big problem for the show. And it's pretty demanding. A CW show in Vancouver is a pretty demanding thing. And I think that we're past the time where one of these shows can go past 5 seasons.
Unfortunately, it does seem that way. I love when shows have a lot of seasons, just like I said before, just being able to like sit down and binge a whole bunch of episodes is always good. Like I feel like, there's a discussion that we could have at some point about how it's currently, like I said another time, I think, like us having 6 episode, 8 episode seasons, and then you have to wait 2 years between seasons is kind of detrimental to when you find it later. When you find it later, you're like what was really popular on Netflix? Friends and The Office. Each of those shows have 9 to 10 seasons and 200 some episodes that people were able to just play on repeat. Well, when you have a 6 episode season, you're not playing it on repeat usually because it's you
Right.
episode
Yeah,
a million times.
I
And
watched
it's kind
Parks
of a
and Rec.
downside.
I watched Parks and Rec like 6 times on Netflix before they got taken to Peacock.
Yeah.
That's a great example. So I agree with you 100% there. I think the problem with the Arrowverse is it's better binged.
Yes, it
I
is
think
so
it's
far.
better binged because I started all these shows binging them after they had started a couple seasons, and then I caught up, and then I've been watching it weekly, and it is so exciting when you can get to that cliffhanger at the end and just go, okay, what's next? Especially in a season 3 of The Flash, where it was like they are giving you just enough every episode to keep you going, okay, what's going to happen here?
Well, and
Uh,
when there is a filler episode, I don't pay it any attention. I'm like, okay, that was good. Next one. Like, I don't have to wait a week.
when there's a filler episode and you're waiting for a week, you're all amped up for the show, your favorite show, and then it's an episode that's a
Yeah.
filler. Now, season 4 has a filler episode that is actually my favorite episode of the entire series.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes, and when you get there, we could probably talk about that episode for an hour. I loved it. I've watched that episode at least 10 times. But I will tell you, when you get a filler episode for The Flash, it's just like, now I got to wait a whole week. So if you get 2 or 3 lazy episodes in a row, because sometimes I think the Flash's writing is lazy. It's not necessarily bad, but it cuts corners and you kind of leaves you flat. So that's one thing there, I would say.
All right. So we'll wrap up my Arrowverse update here with this meme that I found from The Flash season 3. So it is Barry saying, I swear on both of my parents' lives, I will protect you, to Iris. Then it cuts to both of his parents' graves, and then Iris saying, I'm so fucked.
That is so freaking good. that is so freaking good. Oh,
Somebody
God.
posted this like 6 years ago on this app that I use to track all of my shows so I know what episode's next.
Okay.
And they posted this, and I like episode, and I saw this, and I laughed, and I was like, okay, I got to save this and share it.
That is. I swear.
Because I thought this when he said that, I was like, both of them are dead, Barry.
Sometimes the Flash gives you a line where you're like, what? Like, I don't want to give anything away, but I don't think this is like a major spoiler. There's an episode in season 9 where they have people inspecting Star Labs for like mold and stuff. And he's like, let's go into the speed lab. And I'm like, why would you call it the speed lab?
Oh,
To like somebody who doesn't know it's the Flash.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's a show ruining secret that I just spoiled. But it's a minor thing. But I'm just like, it's things like that where you're like, 5 seconds of thought would make the script better. And that's why I get frustrated, because it's like, if I'm sitting there on my couch going, oh, come on, that means out of the 8 million people who watched the show that week, there's about 500,000 people going, at least, oh, come on, live.
you want to know the ratings this it's actually 500,000 an episode.
Okay. Okay, cool.
So
Right. That was even
it's
less than
very
that.
low.
So yeah. Well, and you know what? The Flash, there are a lot of people who just jumped off it. There are a lot of people who said, yeah, I'm done.
Well, the issue is too, people have been jumping off of broadcast TV anyways. They cut the cord and stuff. Like if you look at like even Superman and Lois, its ratings are around the same as the Flash. They're higher, but they're around that. And all of CW shows, I was just looking at all their ratings, are all in that range. And when you look at like even season 3 of the Flash, 3 million an episode, right? I mean, when you look at how many people watched The Office on NBC in like 2013, you got like 9 to 6 million people. Nowadays, people watching NBC is like 3 million.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I turned on NBC for anything other than Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I mean, that's the issue is like most of these networks are really only surviving off of sports and reality.
That's the only reason I have cable, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
If I didn't love sports, I could get rid of Xfinity pretty easily.
See, I don't have cable. I have Hulu TV, but like I had to have it because I wanted to be able to watch live sports, right? Without having to like use an antenna because my antenna doesn't work here.
Yeah, so Xfinity charges like $250 a month for internet and cable. And at first it kind of made sense because I was like, well, I'm paying for the internet anyway. And then it was like, oh, come on. It's just, and the TV buffers all the time. And I'm like, it's cable. Why is it buffering? It's not like I used to have DirecTV, and if it got even a smidge windy, I was screwed. TV options stink. So that's one of the reasons nobody's watching TV.
Yeah, there's so many options now. Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, all these things that people can be watching instead. YouTube has seen a huge increase. People might be watching us on YouTube right now instead of watching TV. So, yeah, it's crazy. But I guess we'll wrap up this part of it. Get ready for the next episode that's going to be on your feed. We're going to talk Blue Beetle trailer, and then we're going to talk Superman and Lois Season 3, first 4 episodes. So if you're not caught up on those, you can dip out after Blue Beetle.